Welcome to the Legion Outriders podcast, your source for the latest Legion news, opinion, and analysis. And now, the Outriders.
Hello, Outriders, and welcome to episode 158 of the Legion Outriders podcast. I'm Outrider Matt.
And I still haven't come up with a good name other than my name is Jeff.
So is this going to be our thing that we have? We have no Dan, so there will be no countdown to the Las Vegas Open. So that's fine. Jeff, we're going to call you Jeff right now, Outrider Jeff, just for clarity's sake.
Sure.
So I can't just say the artist formerly known as whatever.
My name is Jeff. The artist formerly known as my name is Jeff.
There it is. But we got a lot to talk about on the show today. Some Star Wars news, what's been happening in our hobby and gaming, plus an interview with Cornwolf for our first UK correspondence with the GT over there. So we'll have that after the break. But before we get started, we'd like to take a second to thank our patrons that make recording and publishing the show possible. Specifically, we'd like to call out the main man, the Mad Wookiee himself. It's Rock. Rock's been around from the beginning of time, and we honestly couldn't do this show without him. So, salutes out to Rock. For those about to rock, we salute you. If you'd like to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/Legion Outriders. Say thanks, Rock, Jeff.
Thanks, Rock.
There you go. See, it's unanimous. But anyways, so a little bit of Star Wars news going on. I don't know if you're aware, but there's a show that's streaming right now. Something to do, Ashoka, I think it's called.
Yeah, that's the correct pronunciation.
Hey, if that's the way Ian McDermott wants to say it, that's the way I'm going to say it. But yeah, we as of recording, the third episode has just dropped, and I am loving it.
I have not seen episode 3, but 1 and 2 were great. It's definitely it's Rebels season 5, but if you like Rebels, it's Rebels but better.
Yeah. I'm hoping they're getting all the kind of exposition out of the way of these episodes for the folks that are coming that didn't watch Rebels for some reason because they have trouble with cartoons, even though it's still amazing storytelling in Star Wars. But anyways, so that's going on right now. And as a result, there's, of course, tie-ins for the Ashoka, excuse me. So that's right. All you Fortnite players, get ready because there's a new Flossen skin heading your way. That's right. Ahsoka's coming to Forknife? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that game.
That one.
I've never played it. Have you played it?
I have never played it.
Yeah, I will never play it.
I one of the streamers I used to follow, started playing it when it was very brand new. And I was like, this is a very interesting, weird concept. I will never play this. And then it became the thing that it is today. So not to pass judgment, but I judge you if you play it.
I mean, they've got so many different licenses or so many different skins. Good on them. Yeah,
no, for sure. Epic's been working that particular cash cow for a while now, but that's going on. Otherwise, not a whole lot going out there. Actually, getting into some Legion news. So we did get an email from Matthew G. He emailed us last year about some tournaments he's running. He had some updates for this year. So I'll just read what he wrote. Hello, Outriders. Back with some events I'm running in the Midwest. Both of these events have a store championship kit, so we'll provide a world invite to the winner. The first event is the Michigan GT, held in Lansing. It's going to be on October 7th through the 8th. And the second event is the Rumble on the River. I remember talking about this one, in Fort Wayne, Indiana, November 11th and 12th. And there's links on the Discord and all that. So if you have any questions, you can reach out there. But sounds like some fun events. Thank you for letting us know to let us plug that. Also, there is an extravaganza of minis coming up soon. A mini extravaganza, if you will. Jeff, I think you've got the details on that for us. What's going on there?
Oh, yeah. So it's starting on, I can't find the date. I know it's September.
You're fired. You're no longer replacement Dan.
I know. I'm looking at the article, and I thought it was on the article of when the dates were.
We had a post in our little chat. Let me see if I can scroll back and find that.
So while I'm talking about what's going on, I'll give you a chance to look for the actual dates. Oh, here it is. It's September 14th. It's in the It's in the corner. I found it.
So hopefully the fervor from Starfield will have died down a little bit, so I can actually pay attention to that.
Yeah, so you can emerge from your Starfield cocoon.
Peel myself out of my spacesuit.
Yeah. So opening ceremonies for that are going to kick off at 9 a.m. and then they're going to get into some Marvel Crisis Protocol. I think they have 2 events, a painting and a roadmap.
This is going to be a Monday. It's starting on.
Oh, nice. I'll be watching at work.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. No, I have the wrong month. Whoop. There it is. It will be a Monday. No, I'm just kidding. It's a Thursday that it's starting on.
I will still be watching at work.
Of course you will.
And then after the lunch break, they're going to have some Star Wars Shatterpoint, assembling elevations, because that's important. Some Legion news on Spec Ops. That's going to be interesting. The Hives of Geonosis. Yeah, the Hives of Geonosis. That should be our first look at the new Geonosis army.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, Geonosian.
I do hope they have Sunfac the Lesser, or Sunfac, or is Poggle the Lesser. There we go.
I'm sure they will. What else do they have? Path of the Worthy. You're going to talk about that for Crisis Protocol. I know this is a Legion podcast. I'm just running down the list of what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah. The last...
Probably some cross-pollination.
Oh, for sure. The last event of the day is going to be Fear and Painted Minis for Shatterpoint. And then that takes us into the next day, the 15th. It'll be a Shatterpoint roadmap, more painting for Shatterpoint. It looks like they're going to have a stream about design and development, first steps into a larger world.
Ooh.
More Marvel Crisis Protocol streams, painting, evolving Crisis. And then we get into Legion. Empire's Battle Colors and Battle Forces Across the Galaxy. So Battle Forces...
Empire gets more Battle Forces? Amazing!
No, those are two separate events.
Oh, okay.
It looks like they have a lot of painting streams, but, they like to talk design and development during those streams usually.
They will leak out some tidbits here and there while they're painting as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Usually they don't do that during the paint streams that they do throughout the year, but in Mini Stravaganza, they do like to give those little teasers. And then the Battle Forces Across the Galaxy.
People hooked.
That sounds like it's going to be more about design and development of the battle forces that we've seen.
And confirming the Gungan army that we know is on the way.
Or hopefully talking about balancing and stuff like that. We'll see.
Gungans.
Or Gungans, sure.
Okay.
Right.
Is that Peter and the Wolf?
No.
Somebody didn't turn off their cell phone?
Yeah, somebody didn't turn off their cell phone.
I'm saying it in such a way as to make them think it's you.
It was my intern. I'll have to have a chat with him after the show.
Put them in the pain amplifier.
What's funny is I meant to turn that off, and that's it's from Blade Runner, from the new Blade Runner. That's what that sound was.
Yeah, 2049.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
you're a geek.
back to the next day, they're going to get into the Legion roadmap, which is
16th, and this will be a Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're going to get into the Legion roadmap, which is something I'm looking forward to.
Oh gosh, yeah. I want to see what they got planned down the road.
Yeah.
So, what time does that start?
That'll be 9 a.m. on the 16th. That's the first event of the day.
And this is all Pacific time, right?
Yes, correct.
So I think it's -8 GMT. So math for the people overseas.
Yeah, I would have to Google that to find out, but sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the roadmap because I'd like to know what the plan is for Legion. I think they have a lot of stuff they can still touch on, but we have Shatterpoint that's definitely on the forefront of AMG's mind, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's the new game is what they're trying to push. That makes sense. But yeah, I can't wait to see what they have waiting in the wings.
Yeah, same here. And then we get into Battle Colors for the Republic's Finest. So looking at, another hobby stream. We'll get into Shatterpoint, crafting characters after they come back from the break. Some more Marvel Crisis Protocol streams. And then it looks like they're going to wrap up with a Star Wars Shatterpoint painting That's Just Good Business stream. And then they do a hobby hang farewell. I don't know if you remember last year they had think it was 4 or 5 people on the stream, all painting Ewoks, if I remember right, or different characters from their
Yeah.
games.
Nice.
Yeah. So
That's fun. I'm going to be out of town. Wait, actually, I might be back in time for some of that. So, okay. Yeah, I'm going to try to catch as much as I can.
imagine if they had this like infrastructure of data that you could access information from around the world, and even though you're out of your house, you could still watch streams.
Doing stuff. I'll be traveling. Oh my goodness. Wow, you're so judgy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, hopefully some really fun, good information coming out for Legion there soon, and I can't wait to see what they have in mind. And yeah, that's it. So, other than Shatterpoint, I know the Outriders have been doing a lot of that. We also play Legion from time to time, and you've actually been getting some games in there. I am currently building my army. I finally got the last box of Magna Guard I needed. And now it's just assembly. And actually, I don't have to do too much painting. I already had most of my droids already painted up for the army I was playing with like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Oh man, that was before pandemic. That was forever long. 4 years ago. Why? So mostly I just need to paint up Grievous and some Magnas, and I'll be good to go on that front. So looking forward to having them hit a table here soon. How about you? What you been doing?
I've been unpacking my whole armies and kind of thinking about
You're moved now. That's good.
Yeah. So I'm in my new house. I've been thinking about paring down what I've been playing a little bit, just making room for Shatterpoint, but still staying in Legion.
Okay, those are the 2 correct answers. Everything else can go by the wayside.
Yeah. Just trying to figure out what I want to stay in for Legion. It's probably going to be Rebels, and I don't know if I'm going to hold on to my Shadow Collective or not. I'm still trying to decide on that. But definitely.
But Shadow Collective can be Rebels.
Yeah, they can. A few of them can. And I got the box of Ewoks that you sent me, but I haven't assembled them yet or thought about, I'm probably not going to get the Ewok army, honestly.
All right, we'll send them back then.
Well, I can still use them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they do still. You can take them in Rebel armies, just not. They have the limitations. So they would be easy to paint with contrast paints, but I already have so much stuff to paint.
But you just said it would be so easy, and you wouldn't have to obsess over it like you do with the other stuff.
It's true. Yeah. I'm going to obsess over stuff no matter what. That's never going to stop happening.
That's fair.
But yeah, after, unpacking my armies, I got a couple games in actually this past weekend. Our store had the store championships, which also had a Worlds invite attached to it, which was pretty cool.
Nice. So how'd that end up playing out?
It was pretty good. There's some growing pains in our store with what's the new tracking system that everybody switched to? Game Uplink, right?
The Game Uplink?
Yes. Yeah. So we didn't use Game Uplink, but they still did. The store took care of pairings and everything. I'm not sure which system they used, but we had, I think, 14 people show up, and I think we had one person, just watching the games to see what was going on.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was a pretty good turnout. There was a lot of varying lists and a lot of ATSTs.
What? Get out of here.
In 2 lists I played 3 games, and 2 of the lists were Tempest Force, it was rough. But
what kind of list were you playing?
So I kept playing my LVO list, the Echo base. So I had 4 FDs, and I'm aware how frustrating this list would be, to set up across the table. And, people ask, they're like, oh, how far can the FD shoot? And I'm like, range 5. And, it's just like, what? Range 5? Yeah.
I just want you to slowly produce the range 5 ruler, and just as you extend, just boop them on the nose.
Yeah.
That far.
Yeah.
Exactly that far.
Yeah. It is pretty far, but the list does have a few weaknesses that I know of. I try not to tell too many people, but
hey, here's how you beat me, guys.
Yeah, exactly. And one of those weaknesses was during the 3rd game. It was hostage exchange, and with 4 FDs, they don't move, so I can't really chase all that well, especially when you're marching into 3 ATSDs. So that was a rough game. But I did have a lot of fun. We didn't really have any issues. There was a few judge calls, mostly the standard stuff you would see, line of sight, hey, can I shoot this guy? That sort of stuff.
Everybody gets cover.
Yeah, everybody gets cover. That is the new, there's not much light cover anymore. It's all heavy cover. Yeah. But just to give a quick rundown of my games, my first game, I played a newer player, and he was running Grievous with the snail tank, some B1s, some B2s, a hodgepodge of things, and he was still learning. So
it still sounds fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I took the opportunity to teach him because I knew what his list could do, and I knew what my list could do, and the battlefield was kind of open, so I was like, I'm going to take this, no problem. And it was, I can't remember I'm blanking on the name of the mission that you do, but it's the one with the 3 different objectives, and you get to choose one for your side. You have the one in the middle, and then they choose one for their side. For as much as I play this game, you would think I could remember it, but my memory
key
is
positions,
garbage.
Was it? Key positions.
Yeah, key positions.
Why am I overthinking that?
I don't know. I was overthinking it too. Absolutely just blanked on that. So it was key positions. I knew my FDs could sit there and hold the middle and my backfield objective. And then, I have the airspeeder in my list that can go hunt things for fun. And usually I kind of circle that in the middle of the board and terrorize people. So I won that one pretty easy. The FD's just at range. Most people don't realize how many dice they can throw and how much they can shut your units down, especially troopers.
I forget. Do you put generators on your FDs?
I do have the generators, and I run the suppression generators just to stop the trooper units. Just
to stop people from having fun. Got it.
Yes, I am mean. Like I said, I do know that this list is frustrating to play against. I didn't design it that way. I designed it to just hold down objectives, and
you designed it to win at all costs.
To try to, yeah. I really like the list. I like what it can do, but again, I think battle forces have some skew to them in the game right now.
Think about all the time you save for death clocks, when you're not having to move, half your army.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, especially in my third game, when I get to that in a few seconds here, when you have an FD cannon who can't do anything. So you just, I'll dodge and stand by, done,
Yep.
And then nothing happens. And that's, 6 rounds of that. It can be pretty frustrating.
Yeah, that sucks. All right, so game 2.
Game 2, yeah. So obviously I won game 1. Game 2 was versus Tempest Force, and we had major offensive, so we were pretty close to each other. And he starts putting down I had never seen Tempest Force before, and he puts down his ATSTs and then scouts them too, and is basically standing in the middle of the board behind terrain, staring down my whole army. And I know what ATSTs can do, and I know they throw a lot of dice. So I was pretty sure I was going to lose this one. And we had payload. So I knew that if he targeted my troopers, I wouldn't have anybody to push my cart. So that was a bit of a concern.
Why did you let that be the mission?
Sometimes you're faced with terrible choices in life, and you pick the best one you can. And payload was the best option for me. Because I knew that he would have to push his cart into my FDs, and my FDs can still push a cart, and they can still stop an opponent from pushing a cart as well. So I ended up picking the bombing area that he had to push his cart to was basically in front of all 4 of my FDs.
You dirty dog.
Yeah, I know. I'm mean. And he was a really great opponent. I wish I had had my names of the opponents down, but he knew me from the podcast, and we had a nice chat about that. And
that's cool.
Yeah. He was like,
"You're on a podcast?"
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
But he was like, "I know your voice from somewhere." So I was like, "Yeah, I'm one of the Outriders," and we talked about that. But back to the game. I targeted his leader, his commander in the ATST, and just focus fired everything I had. So it was like 1 round of focus firing and ATST down each round. So by the end of the game, he had 1 wound left on his last ATST. And I did attack it just to see if I could kill it. And I rolled 2 crits, and he rolled 2 saves. And I was like, "You are a nice guy." But he did roll a lot of saves on his ATSTs. Those things are very tanky. And I did have
really,
a nice...
they shouldn't be.
They were. Every game I played against them, they were making like half of their saves. It was crazy.
What?
With heals behind them, yeah.
With white dice?
Yeah, white dice surge to defense. They were doing okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I had my own skew too. He took a shot at my airspeeder and had enough to knock it off the board with 3 damage, and I rolled 3 saves. So
wow.
Yeah.
Did a barrel roll, so
yeah, that's happened a few times with my airspeeder, and it's enjoyable. But I blank out just as much as I roll those crazy hits too. So or crazy defense. So I won that game just on neither one of us could get our bomb carts in scoring position, but taking out so many ATSTs, I ended up way ahead on points.
Little rubber stamps on the side of the FDs.
Yeah, exactly. And in that game, oddly enough, I only lost 2 Mark IIs. That was all I lost.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I was
80 points something.
Yeah. I was surprised that I held on that much. And that the FDs were just cranking out that much damage. But they do have impact too, and you are throwing a decent amount of dice. Yeah. So that put me...
Do they surge?
They do surge, yes. They surge to hit. And then the generator that I had, it adds 1 suppression. So I can untap it and throw more dice, or I can aim and, go for better hits. But there's a lot of flexibility in the list. I like it. Not a lot of mobility, which is the problem. And that was my downfall in game 3. So
you're currently 2-0 going to game 3.
2-0, and this is when I like to, lose my mind. And just tank everything. So
it is known.
Yeah. You like to start at the bottom, get your losses out of the way first, right? And then maybe try and win a few.
Yeah.
It's and drinks
That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I also like to start at the bottom and stay at the bottom. So it's also a cool little trick I keep up my sleeve.
Yeah. So my third game was against Surprise Tempest Forced. And it was the same, similar setup. It was 3 ATSTs with the repair droids behind them. And I forgot that too. Not only are you having to damage the ATSTs, you have to, get through 4 to 6 extra hits because of those astromechs behind them.
Dirty dangles, boys.
Yeah, it's rough. And this one, I did not have good choices. We ended up on Long March, and I know this mistake. I've made it before. Yeah. My FDs will outrange the ATSTs, but they can move and I can't. And we landed on hostage exchange for the mission, which it's an okay option for me, but not on this map and not on the terrain that we had. There was just too much line of sight blocking. Not enough.
I bet you missed pushing that cart.
Oh yeah. So that one, he got his hostage into his deployment zone and just kind of turtled. And at that point, there was nothing I could do except try to push forward. But I'm running into 3 ATSTs, throwing a lot of dice with blast and surge to hit. So yeah, it was a bloody battle on my side.
But you had fun, I hope.
Oh, I had a blast, yeah. And I even, I made some moves that I think were unexpected. Of getting my airspeeder in the back of his, behind his ATSTs, and I really should have done that earlier in the game to force him to choose. Are you gonna destroy the airspeeder and keep your hostage safe, or are you gonna stop the oncoming, army that I have of a few guys? And he still would have probably won, but I could have maybe made a play sooner. But that's a little bit of, shaking the rust off, because it has been a while since I played.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. But it was cool that we had a pretty decent turnout there. Dan wasn't able to make it to that, right?
No, he showed up. Well, he did make it, but he only showed up for setup and teardown because he had some personal stuff going on.
Yeah, I know there's some personal stuff. Okay, so who ended up running the event?
So Jared ran it, and we had, oddly enough, we had Dan as our main judge, but then he had to leave. Yeah, so Daniel
Outsider
Roberts,
Dan?
Yeah, but he had to leave, so then Daniel Areco subbed in, so we had a Dan sub for a Dan.
Okay.
And then Patrick and I were the secondary, not adjudicators. What's the name of the new
Consular?
judges? Consular. Yeah. So we made a few calls on other people's tables, and I had some questions myself on my tables just to make sure that I was still doing things the right way. We've had some rule changes lately. And then the final round went to the guy that I played. He faced our own Michael, who likes to run the droid lists. So he was running a droid battle force with, I think, the tanks, some repair bots. But Tempest Force did take the win.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, shocking. Absolutely nobody. Wait, was he doing a Naboo assault force or?
I believe so. Yeah. Cause he had the
Okay.
ATST and a bunch of repair B1s with repair droids behind it.
AAT?
AAT. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, hopefully he'll end up using the world's invite.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you had gotten the ticket, would you have gone?
I would definitely have tried to. Yes.
Man. Someday, Jeff. I know you can do it. You're the best.
I'm trying. Yeah. So when I went 2-0 and going into that third round, I was like, oh, maybe I have a chance, and then
you had a chance, but that's a tough matchup if with the objective.
Yeah, and it was the way the battle cards were laid out, I really didn't have many good choices. I was going to take a loss on one of those cards no matter what.
Take the L.
Yeah.
So did you have much of a bid with your list?
I have 0 bid with my list, and that's something I'm thinking about now. Maybe dropping HQ uplink and getting a 10-point bid so I can run the maps and the objectives that I like.
Did any of your opponents have much of a bid?
Yes, all of my opponents had bid. So
like a lot, or 3-4 points kind of thing?
I would say 10 points or less. Yeah, usually it was the first guy I played had he was right on 800, so we rolled for it. The second player, I think he was like 796. He was within that 8 to 10 point bid.
Okay, so losing the HQ uplink could actually maybe have seen your battle deck being used.
Yeah. I do like being red player sometimes because with the FDs, I want to have a deployment zone or a side of the map that I know I can deploy them in, and still be able to shoot. But being able to play my own cards would be beneficial too.
Yeah, that actually leads me to my questions here on the laser turret. You don't see too many of them on the table, at least I don't, but I know you've been a big user of the old 1.4 FD laser turrets, especially spamming them like you are. What are some of the things you look for when you place them on the table?
So usually I don't. Back when I first started playing Legion, I liked to push into my opponent's backfield. With the FDs, that's not an option. Just I don't have the manpower to do it. So I look at taking over half of the board or 2/3 of the board. Most of the objectives that we play, you can win by controlling 2 out of 3 of those objectives. So I want maps that allow me to control the center and still be able to hold my backfield a little bit. And then just angling the FDs so that you can control certain lanes or objectives that you're going to be playing.
Okay, cool. And how much so you were saying that red player definitely helps out on that. Yeah. Do you usually wait to see what kind of, what affects you more, the objective of the game or the actual table layout for deployment?
With the FDs, I think it's the table layout, because if I don't have room to put them down closer to the middle of the board, it can really limit the amount of shooting they can do. A prime example is the one I was on, Long March. That puts you on that short edge of the table really far back. So range 5, it is long. But when you're looking at that, the whole 6-foot board, range 5 doesn't go as far as you think.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah. So in hostage exchange with that double move, he's already outside of my FD range, getting back on that turn too. So really I'm looking at anything that gets me on the long edge of the board. What are the ones? Hemmed in, major offensive. One of his options was even roll out, and I shied away from that one because I was like, I don't want 3 ATSTs deploy, scout 3ing right in my face.
Oh gosh.
But really, I do, because I can take those shots a little bit more than you think.
How many health on those guys?
They have 11 health each.
Ooh, wow.
But if they're scouting, they're kind
I
of
mean, for the laser turret. Sorry.
yeah. Oh, sorry. For the laser turrets, 6. They have 6 health each.
That's fair.
Yeah, but they do get cover from a lot of stuff in the game. I think they still get cover from barricades. I would have to look that one up just to be sure. But the way the way we do cover now, they do get a lot of heavy cover. So
Okay.
heavy cover, 6 health. You might as well count it to be 8 because you're getting rid of 2 wounds usually. They roll 5 black dice natively, and then if you put a generator on them, you're looking at another black die with impact 1 or 2 white dice with suppression. But I have so much impact with 4 of them and the airspeeder in my list. I decided on the suppression one because it can shut a unit down, an objective carrier, a lot of different things. And then I do have a lot of critical in my list too. The rest of my army has crit 2, except for one, my leader. Like that's the worst unit in my list. And really all he's there to do is to hand out orders, the commander.
You're just using rebel officer?
Yep, just a base rebel officer, and they're just handing out dodges. And they're kind of there as a secondary objective capture if they need to be. But yeah, everything else is impact and crit. The airspeeder, it surges to crit now. It has impact 3. That was something. I did use the harpoon, and I got to turn him. Yeah.
Oh, you did? I was going to say, when you said you got behind him, I was like, oh, I wonder if we got to turn him.
Yeah, that was the second game, not the third game, unfortunately. And I did get to pivot his ATST, and then his ATST was already broken down, so he rolled the white die to see if he would get 2 actions, and he didn't. So he was like, well, not doing anything with this guy.
Ooh, brutal.
Yeah. But at that point, I already had the game pretty much in the bag.
Gotcha.
I had stopped his payload from moving, and I had kept mine moving. Even if he had shot one of my guys off of it, I had enough guys on it to move it. So
nice. Well, it sounds like it was a great event, and you had a lot of fun there. But appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah.
But, anyways, we're going to go ahead and take a short break, and then I'll be back with Cornwolf to talk about some UK GT action. So don't go anywhere, Outriders. We'll be right back.
Oh, 1 second. I do have one more thing about the event. I'm sure Dan would appreciate it.
I'm sorry, we already took the break.
141 days until LVO. We have to do it for Dan.
I'm cutting this.
No!
You are receiving the Legion Outriders podcast. Ending the transmission now would be most unfortunate. And now, the Outriders.
Hello and welcome back, Outriders. Very happy to be joined on the show today. Dan has disappeared, and in his place, a different kind of co-host today, being joined by Ali, aka Cornwolf, on the Discord. How's it going, bud?
Hi, yeah, very well, thank you.
Right on. So we now have a UK correspondent, and he's going to be giving us. There was a really big Legion event that happened, the MKGT. Where was that held?
So it's in Milton Keynes, so just outside of London.
Okay. So sounds like you have a pretty good player pool to draw on from over there. But so it was a 2-day event. Tell us how many people were kind of signed up, and you went to both days, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So there was 96 people signed up, 86 people turned up. So that's like almost 10% no show. And it kind of exploded. So I did this just before COVID. So we went into lockdown, which was originally called like the European tournament. And then they decided to do it as a separate event, just like a UK event, although we do get people traveling to come and see it. And it went from, I think originally it was 40 or 50 of us, and then it suddenly just exploded to the point that they had like Deep Cut Studios and people that were sponsoring, and we were getting a few freebies, and then they ran out of the freebies because that many people were buying tickets. But the hotel we were at was really accommodating and plenty of space, which was really good.
Okay, so was this event strictly for Legion, or was it part of a larger convention?
No, just strictly for Legion. There's
Fantastic.
one in October in London, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, which is 40k and all sorts of stuff that's happening. But yeah, this was just purely Legion.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you had a hotel block just for a Legion event, that's fantastic. How is the actual play space itself?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, so the table's a little bit lower, but it meant you could sit down, so you're not stood up for 6 games over 2 days. But it was really good. A little bit on the warm side, but you've got there was a few ladies present and stuff as well. So I can't just say gents, but 86 sweaty people in there. But it wasn't like honking like sometimes it can. But yeah, they were really good, really accommodating, and yeah, topped us up with water and things.
Okay, good. I imagine the table situation, because it was such a spike in attendees. How were the tables out there?
Really good, really good. Some of the guys were like, "Oh, the quality is not great," because they had to they've got a few people on hand that have got 3D printers, and they were just like, "Print everything, we need it now." But everything had really good terrain and everything, and even painted. So, yeah.
That's great. Man, it almost sounds like you were helping the staff event, but that's usually how it goes for Legion events like this. Everybody kind of pitches in and does their bit. Yeah. Was that much of a travel for you?
It's about an hour for me. So I'm in the Midlands, so I'm near Nottingham.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, not too bad. I did stay overnight, just because of having those events. You don't want the traveling as well.
Yeah. Did word get out that you were traveling away from GW Head HQ to go play Legion? Did they have a radio tag go off on you or something?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I'm not too far away from Warhammer World.
Okay. So obviously you're there to play. Could you tell us a little bit about the list that you brought out to that?
So I'm not the best player in the world. I think maybe we're very similar.
Maybe not even third best.
the dice always fail me. I don't know what it is, but it is one of those things. So I ended up copying a list. I think it was from Adepticon, which is the Chewie Yoda. I call it the piggyback list. So Chewie and Yoda. Yoda's fully kitted out with burst of speed, force push, saber throw, vigilance, and then 3 phase 1s, 2 with the rocket launchers, 1 with a Z6, and a medic, 1 ARC trooper set up with Echo, and then 3 naked bark speeders.
Okay, right on. That's a lot of bark right there.
Yes.
How was the bite though? So tell us a little bit about your first day.
So my goal from not being the best player, if I can go and win 1 game, I'd be happy.
Pressure's off then, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I feel that in my soul. That's how I live my life.
Yeah. And one of the guys at lunch was like, "It'll be fine. Everyone will win at least 1 game, or hopefully." And I was like, "You're going to see something real special here." So the first game, I was against a guy called Tom. He was playing droids, and we did hostage exchange, major offensive, and minefield. And there's going to be a very close repetition between my first 2 games. It was extremely close. Bizarrely, Tom he killed my hostage carrier. Quite close to my area, so I wasn't too far away getting it back to where I needed to. He picked it up and then put it in my area. So then my guys just turned around and went, I think I used Yoda's 1 pip to then get over to him and just slaughtered him and went, "Yeah, I'll have that back." I don't know why. It was quite a close game up until then. So we ended up doing 2-2. And unfortunately, I lost on points. So I lost 322 to his 243. So
it doesn't really get much closer than that. Yeah.
No. So I was kind of like,
game, though?
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, very back and forth, and it was just a bit of a bloodbath in the middle. It's just one of those things with hostage exchange, isn't it? You kind of want to get your guys out, but yeah, beat each other up.
It's nice to have the classic clones versus droids matchup too.
Yes,
but okay. You said your next game was also quite a clincher, nail biter. How'd that go?
So that went 2-2 again. So I was against Jim Wakefield. He had Imperials, and we were on recover the supplies, advanced positions, and clear conditions. So it was
what kind of Imperial list was it?
He was running.
Was it Blizzard or Dark Troopers? Or...
No, it was Krennic.
Krennic. Okay.
Iden, Bosk, Shore Troopers, Mortar Team, Death Troopers, Special Forces, and then Infernal Squad.
Wow.
And his mortar, I think he probably put it in a bad place. I was like, oh god, a mortar, but he put it at the back of the map on one of the supplies, and then it did nothing, which I know you have to do to win a game, but I thought that was a waste for a mortar.
Yeah.
And I just tried to keep out of line of sight.
Isn't there something about those weapon teams? They can't claim objectives or something like that too?
He had another squad with him.
Oh, yeah.
The
Okay.
mortar was kind of like, you just sat at the back, not really doing much. And I just kept out of Iden's. I can't remember what pip it is, but where it's just like everyone gets suppression.
Oh, okay,
yeah. But yeah, again,
really I think
close.
That's isn't that Krennic's card?
Oh, it might be. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, looming something or other. It's been a while since I played Krennic, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and that was another 2-2 battle, and it went to points again, and it was 249 to 202. So it was like super close.
Okay, so apparently it can get closer than the last game.
Yeah, yeah, and it was just I learned just to try and keep my clones in a bubble as much as I could, and use that to my advantage, and it didn't quite work, but one of those things, isn't it?
Okay, fair enough. But surely round 3, this was the one you were so ready to. No, you're shaking your head no.
Yeah, no. This one was. I learned the hard way. So, bombing run, I started practicing with, and I'm like, this is really good fun with bark speeders. 3 bark speeders, the bombs, and you're off.
Yeah.
No,
I
didn't realize how much better.
I was on the receiving end of exactly that, and they did pretty well. But what happened with yours?
When you're up against 4 Imperial speeder bikes, and they hit my box very hard, and I tried to go not into a slug with them, but that kind of thing, and it didn't work out. So I ended up. So we did bombing run, major offensive, and hostile environment, and I ended up losing 3-0. And I only managed to kill 70 points of his army to my 231.
And he was 0-2 up to that point. Yeah. Usually when you keep sliding down the ladder, it's like, okay, some of the pressure's off. This should be a little bit more fun. Chuck some dice. That sounds absolutely brutal.
Yeah, it was still a good, fun match. I think the points came from his bikes just completely obliterating mine.
Yeah.
I put the bombs on my bikes and he just went, no, we're not having any of that. I didn't get one in his area.
I like the 74Zs over the Barks in that kind of matchup, straight up like that.
Yeah, so I learned the hard way with that one.
Yeah, okay. Well, still, yeah, it's always good to show up to these kind of events, with that kind of mindset. Like, I may not do the best, but I'm going to have some fun and learn a lot.
Yes. I've, since like COVID and things, I've just not had enough time. And I think I spoke about this in the Discord, that just to get the games in. And I switched from droids to clones just because I was sick of rolling white dice all the time, and I wanted some of that red hotness.
Oh yeah,
not quite
it's very tempting.
Me, but,
and then they blank anyways, and you're like, why did I even bother?
Yes, and I don't know if you've had this in other events, but we had like a bingo sheet up.
Oh, we've done bounty boards and things like that, but bingo, kind of that thing. Yeah,
and I won. This is how bad I rolled dice. So I think I had 9 red saves to make, and I blanked on 5 of them.
Okay, I mean,
a nice special edition card, but
yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, but surely the next day would be better. But was there any kind of social events? Did you guys go and do anything that evening?
Yeah, there was a couple of groups of people going out for food and beer. So Milton Keynes is, at least the centre where we were, is what I class as very American. Everything's quite close together, like in a complex, if you like, with several hotels. So we went out
mall area kind of thing. A little bit bigger kind of thing.
Yeah. So a couple of us, a few of us went to the pub for some food. A few other people went for a Turkish, and then we had all met up and had beers and just a bit of a laugh. Tried not to stay out too late, but these events are.
Yeah. I mean, you always want to stay out later than you probably should for that, and probably drink a little bit more than you should.
Yeah.
Get a chance to catch up with anybody from previous events or anything? Or is it pretty much meeting people for the first time?
A lot of it for me was meeting people for the first time. I've met a few people I've gone down to Milton Keynes for like a monthly event a couple of times. So there's a few people from that I'd met, and we had a bit of a chat, and then there's a couple of other local stores near me that I don't get the opportunity to go to. So met people from there, and they're like, come down, have a game with us. So it was really nice.
Side tangent here. So when I was living in the UK like 10 years ago, there wasn't very many game stores around, at least where I was. It was all about the game clubs.
Yep.
Is that kind of still the dynamic there, or?
No, there's quite a lot of shops now.
Oh, really? Wow, that's fantastic.
There's one in Derby where I am, which is my local, which is Boards and Swords, which has been going 5-6 years now, maybe a little bit longer. And that's doing really well. Then there's another one. I'm kind of in between two stores. Another one called Sanctuary, and yeah, there's a lot of stores about. My friend, Navjeet, if anybody looks through it, you'll see his name pop up. He's in. He goes to all of them, driving around, pretty much doing a tournament every weekend if he can.
Holy cow!
Trying to hunt down a world's ticket. But yeah, there's a lot more stores. It's boomed quite a bit, I'd say, in recent years, which is good.
That is fantastic. Much better than renting out a weekend in the local Girl Scout lodge building and trying to get games in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, side tangent accomplished. Day 2. Surely this was the one. Eye of the Tiger. You were focused, ready to go. Was there a redemption bracket for day 2, or is it just all continued the same?
Just all continued. So it's just Swiss 6 rounds. There was the option for a 7th if we had to go to that, but we didn't. Sure. And I think maybe the lack of beer, not saying I didn't drink, but a few people hung over. I got a win.
Hey! Take that over indulgence. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I played against a guy called Robert who's doing Rebels. Unfortunately, I feel he's paying because I'm a ex-Rebels player when it first came out. We did recover the supplies again, which seems to be a common one in this. Hemmed in and fortified positions. And I ended up going 4-0. It was quite a tough battle for him. He was something I have learned quite quickly, and I think my second game it happened as well, where someone put, it might have been Iden, in the middle of the map on a position, and because of where I was, I moved the bark speeder not fortify, whatever you call it, fire support.
Oh, fire support.
And just went, there you go, have 20 dice, that kind of thing. And he kind of learnt the hard way pushing him, but I also kept my bubble back to force him to come to me. And unfortunately, it went 121 points I lost, and he lost 487.
Oh, okay.
But that only left him with 2 or 3 models.
What kind of rebel list was it?
It was a...
I don't know if you know what the rebel faction looks like right now after seeing all the different ones that have been taking the field.
I think. Yeah. But yeah, it was Leia, and not that it's always struggled, hasn't it, Rebels, to be fair. So it was Leia, Andor, K2SO, 2 rebel troopers with an ion cannons, which did do a bit of damage, but didn't at the same time. Like it immobilized me a little bit.
I feel like, no matter how good Ion gets, those Ion troopers are just kind of...
Yeah, and then a Rebel Vet, Mark II, Blaster Troopers, Pathfinders, Tauntaun Riders, and a Landspeeder.
Wow, it's a bit all over the place there.
Yeah,
but, like a lot of fun iconic units. So
yes, a little bit from column A, B, and C.
Yeah, I'll have all of that, please. And
yes,
we're just going to recreate some battles here.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you were on a tear. Let's see. Does it become a streak in game 2, day 2?
No, it kind of went for a massive high and then a really, really low.
Oh.
So I played a guy called Ed Law who was playing Imperials. We did breakthrough, advanced positions, and fortified positions as well. No, we can't do both of them. That's wrong.
Some sort of positions.
Yes. But basically it was getting to each other. Breakthrough. That was it. Breakthrough with advanced positions. Or the one on the L.
Interesting.
Is that the one on the L? Advanced positions? Questioning myself now.
Oh, man. You're putting me on the spot. Let me take a look. But what kind of list was he running? Usually Gar is going to be a little bit outmanned for things like breakthrough.
Yes. And I positioned myself wrong. So he was at the either end. He was right at the end, and I kind of thought I'd position myself there to battle him rather than get units into his area.
It is the big
quicker.
L's. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was running Iden, 3 lots of troopers with a specialist, and the HH-12 scout trooper, or 2 lots of scout troopers, Imperial Special Forces, Inferno Squad, and then 3 lots of bikes.
Lots of special forces there.
Yes, and he absolutely battered me. So it was 4-0 because I had that few troops. There was not a lot I could do, and I
could get him over.
He nearly tabled me, so it's 722 to hit to his.
Yeah, that's an awkward when you've got the 2 on the corners there trying to get across. That's rough.
And I think I was already at a disadvantage because of his activations, so I had to go into battle with him, and it was a great game. All my games were great, loads of fun. Good. It was just, we were just having a laugh, rolling lots of dice. It was this game where I got the five blanks as well.
Okay. So just to pile on all the trouble you were having.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Okay. So one last chance.
It was, yes. So I played a youngish lad called Joseph Green, who was playing Suns, but I'd not played against them before, bizarrely. Nobody in my local meta plays them. So he was playing Gar-Saxon, 2 Vigos, Vigo, yeah. Maul, 2 lots of Enforcers, Super Commandos, and 1 Swoop Bike. And I lost, but only just. So he ended up going 2-3 because he ran away. So we played Recover the Supplies again. No surprise. Major offensive and then limited visibility. And he lost 560 points of his army to my 165. It was a really good battle. He did some questionable things. So he brought Maul out towards me, poked him through a doorway where I had line of sight with a bike, and then fire supported him and took him off the board.
Wow.
And then he did the same thing with Gar-Saxon, but put him on top of the building. And I went, well, I'll fire support him now. Next round. And lost him. And what won him the game was the fact that he ran away to the other corner. And although I was aggressive, I wasn't pushing enough to stop him.
Taking lots of bodies off the board, but
and I couldn't
taking
quite
as much territory.
Yeah, and he did a really good play that I learned from this, was that I didn't realize that you could go into melee with someone. So he went into melee with Yoda to stop me claiming an objective, but after he'd moved into melee, he just went, I'll claim that. Because I'd killed his unit right next to the last supply.
Was it actually touching the base?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's wow. That must have felt great.
So I had Yoda and the guy here or like touching base. He went in with his 1 pip and just started causing havoc like he does. And then his guy just walked up to him because Yoda couldn't move to get the objective. And then just went, I'll have that. And that was the game. I was like,
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was obviously the Maul Gar-Saxon play. He was lulling you into overconfidence.
Yeah.
And then came in the Grand Admiral Thrawn, clinch
and we did get
win the game.
Checked as well.
Wow.
From a consular, just to say, can I do this? And he went, yeah, you can, and it's a really good play. And I was like, no.
That's not the answer I wanted.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the most successful trip if you measure it by win-loss, but it sounds like you had a lot of great games and got
absolutely,
to hang out and have some fun.
Yeah, it was really good. All the players were great. There was no animosity or anything like that, and there was a couple of tables that were streaming as well. Thankfully, I wasn't showing my rubbish play on any of
They
those.
didn't have Endless show up out there, did they?
No.
It's a little bit far a trek for him and his gear, but that's good. They were able to get some streaming done on that. But so at the end of the day, would you recommend this event for people next year? Or are they going to be doing it next year?
Yeah, I think with the numbers that they've got, absolutely, especially with it being, so it was supported by it is AMG now, isn't it?
Yeah.
With the World's ticket, but it was the ticket where you get. So we had 4 tickets up for grabs, so top 4 players, and we had the top one with the flight and hotel support as well.
The inclusive package. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So with the support they're getting from that and the numbers, I think it will be. And Andy that ran the event, who also runs the local ones as well, did an amazing job. There was loads of bits being given out. We all got a little goodie bag with a cookie in it, some bits from Six Up Supply. So we had some little tokens and discount card from them, and it even had a Deep Cut Studios dice tray in it, which cool. I wasn't expecting at all.
And thank you for using the Americanized term for cookies there. So,
well, it was a cookie, not a biscuit. It was.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we going to get a lecture on the distinction between the two now?
Yeah. No, but yeah, it was bigger than a biscuit, but not.
Oh, okay. All right. Where did digestives come in on the scale?
Well, that's a biscuit.
Are Jaffa cakes actually cakes?
Oh, no, let's not get into that one.
Okay. Anyways, but yeah, this sounds like an absolutely great event, and I appreciate you taking the time to tell us all about it. If you were out there and you didn't see Ali on the tables, maybe you'll catch him next year.
Yeah, definitely.
But, anything you learned for your list that you didn't know going in that you might make adjustments, or do you think just maybe more reps is in order?
Definitely more reps, and learning the nuance of Yoda and how to play his pips. There's definitely a way to play it, and I think I learned that as I went on through the games. But there's definitely a way to play his. I always start with a 3 pip to give everyone, so like a bit of a droid. Everyone gets a token, and then play his. I think it was his 2 pip to get his 3 pip back. Which then I think was him, and I think that's just him that gets bits. I can't remember now. And then I played the 3 pip again, keeping everyone in the bubble. So by the you get to round 3, everyone's got an activation. Which means that if they're coming towards you, they're not expecting it as such, depending on how much they know the game. Because obviously they're used to that just being a droid thing. But if Yoda just goes, everyone gets a token, and then you've got fire support on round 3, easily accessible, and you get into that aggressive stage. And then from there, it was whether I went for depending on how the game was going, I'd then use Chewbacca's card, which was the piggyback one, to get Yoda up the table to then use his 1 pip. To then he can then not burst of speed, but his movement's 3 for that whole round, and then you can do some shenanigans with him as well.
Nice.
So I think that was the biggest learning curve for me, was the command cards.
Yeah, definitely. Yoda's one of those kind of more nuanced commanders out there. Very high skill cap, but if you get him down, look out, buddy.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, Cornwall, thank you again so much for being drafted in to be our UK correspondent over there. Any other events you're going to have to let us know about in the future, but thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And if you have any news, questions, or feedback, you can email us at legionoutriders@gmail.com. Stop by our Facebook page /Legion Outriders, or you can find me out in the world streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/Captain_Archer, or on the Discord as the same, or as Outrider Matt. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time, Outriders.
This concludes the current episode of the Legion Outriders podcast. You may cultivate a tactical advantage by observing the Outriders on Facebook or Twitter at Legion Outriders. Wisdom advocates subscribing to the podcast. Acting otherwise is reckless.